God's word. I was faithful in church. I was going weekly. And it still felt like, in church, it just wasn't penetrating. It wasn't hitting me like it normally would. And I just remembered, like, I couldn't understand. And I remember talking to God just like I'm talking to you now, and just saying, I don't understand. I haven't stopped what I've been doing. I'm continuing to seek you. So why am I feeling so empty inside? Hi you guys, I'm Iman Monet, coming back to you to tell you my depression story and basically tell you how I overcame this is going to be part 1. I'm going to make part 2, and the first video is just going to be me telling you about my experience with depression while I was in college. I'm going to tell you the onset of it, and basically the start of it, and how I moved throughout college with it, and basically how that affected me in school and how it affected me after college. So that's pretty much what this first video is going to be about. Basically the early stages of my depression and when it first started to affect me mentally. So that's pretty much what this first video is going to be about. So I'll go ahead and get into it. I'm going to pull up my notes so that I can follow those as I go through. So let's go ahead and go back to the year 2014. I graduated high school in 2014 from a school in Jacksonville, a private school in Jacksonville. Trinity Christian is where I graduated from. The summer of 2014, I was accepted into the University of Central Florida in Orlando. So I started school pretty much right after I graduated. I moved to Orlando for school, for summer school, summer B at UCF. So that was 2014 when I started at UCF. That summer, I believe I took 2 classes that summer. Everything was really great. I enjoyed it. I loved the new school. I loved the classes, the campus. Everything was great. I enjoyed, being able to move away from home and just starting something new, a new beginning, getting away from my high school and just going to a new place to start school. Freshman year was great. Sophomore year was great. I made a lot of friends in college. Some of them I'm still very close with today. Those friends that you make freshman year are pretty much stick with you throughout. So that was good that I made a lot of friends freshman and sophomore year. I joined different clubs. I was in the GCC, the Gospel and Cultural Choir at UCF. I did that. I had a lot of fun with that and made a lot of friends. It gave me the opportunity to sing. I sing. And it gave me the opportunity to travel and sing at different churches. So that was a great experience. I met a lot of people that I am still good with today. So I enjoyed being, the college life. I really did. My grades were phenomenal. A's and B's pretty much. That's what I had, starting off. Everything was good. Classes were good. Just the regular things that college students would stress about, having money, tests, just the regular things, nothing out of the ordinary for my first few years. Everything was pretty good. Freshman year and sophomore year, I lived on campus, so I had roommates, so that was cool. Nothing, I didn't really have any bad roommates, so that was good. So I was able to room with other people, and that also helped me to get to know people better on campus starting off. So freshman, sophomore year was good. When in Orlando, I found a church home for Orlando. I typically go to church here in Jacksonville, to my home church, and they knew pastors in Orlando that they recommended to me. So I visited that church. Great Faith is the name of the church. I visited that church. I enjoyed it. It was great. It was what I needed. Only downside about that, the church was about 35-40 minutes from where I stayed on campus, but it was like, that's what I knew. And when I went there, I enjoyed it. The services was good. The teachings were good. The praise and worship was good. It was just a good environment. So I did enjoy it. I connected with a few people there. I made some connects there, friends there. So that was good. So I enjoyed going to that church. I pretty much went every Sunday. One of my close friends went with me on Sundays. She would ride with me. We would go, come back, just on Sundays and enjoy service. Every week pretty much. I would sometimes go on Wednesday nights, just like I would do here in Jacksonville. And that was good. That was, again, like freshman and sophomore year. So I actually, in college, I only did 3 years of college. So I graduated early. So I went in 2014 in the summer, and I left 2017 in the summer. So I did about 3 years of school. So freshman, sophomore, and then junior and senior is kind of mixed together since I only did 3 years. I also, while I was in school, along with being in school and being in the choir, I worked part-time at the mall, at the Oviedo Mall. It's not far from UCF. It's a little small mall there. I worked at that mall in Charlotte Russe. I loved my job at Charlotte Russe. I love that job. It was a great job. Everyone there was nice. I really enjoyed working retail. I don't know why everybody hates retail. I love working retail. But I worked at Charlotte Russe. It was great. The money was okay. I mean, it was a part-time job, so you didn't really get a lot of hours. But with me being in school and me being in other clubs, like, it was fine for me. It was what I needed. My parents were pretty much helping me a lot with rent and with other bills, so I really didn't have the need to have a job, but I used it, to buy things like food and to buy things like gas and just every other thing that you may need from day to day. But as for bills, I wasn't stressed about that. So that working part-time at Charlotte Russe was pretty much extra money, spending money just for me to get around and, live on my own. So everything with Charlotte Russe was good. I started working there, I want to say my second year at UCF. I started working there, made a lot of friends there. My supervisors and everything there and managers were nice. So that was a good experience. Never had any complaints about that working at Charlotte Russe. Let's fast forward to 2016. This is around the summer of 2016. During the summer of 2016, I started talking to this guy. We started dating. It was a great experience when we started off. No complaints. This was really like the first relationship that I ever been in. So this was like my first serious relationship. So of course, head over heels, deeply in love, couldn't tell me nothing about nothing, okay? I truly was enjoying the experience. He was a great guy, very attentive to me, listened very well. But on top of this, it was long distance. So that did really, at the time, I didn't know that it was putting a strain on me, but it was. It was very long distance. It was long distance. He was in Texas. I was in Florida. So that was that. But at the time, I really enjoyed it. I had no complaints. I was happy, So that was around the summer of 2016. Now we're moving into 2017. 2017 is going to be my senior year at UC. Senior year out of my 3 years at UCF. And let's start with spring. Spring of 2017, that's when I really started to notice a shift. So I really started to notice the shift in my way of thinking and my way of moving. I slightly noticed it. I didn't, looking back, I see a lot more signs of the depression now looking back on it. But at the time, I noticed it, but I really didn't know what it was full force. At the time, I figured, I'm a senior. I'm ready to get out of Orlando. I'm ready to graduate, and I'm ready to go back home to Jacksonville. And that was pretty much all that I saw it as. I didn't know it as anything different than that. I figured senioritis, I'm just ready to graduate. I'm ready to get my degree and leave, And that's what I thought it was. The spring semester of 2017, I found myself becoming more and more what I called homesick, or what I thought to be homesick at the time. What it really was the starting stages of that depression coming over me. And I didn't really notice that until, later on looking back. It was the starting stages of that depression. I started to feel the pressure of, graduation coming up remember again, I did graduate early, so I graduated in 3 years instead of the typical 4 to 5 years that most people would graduate. So I started feeling the pressure of trying to go ahead and graduate in 2017, which would have been early for me. And that started to become, overwhelming is the word that I would use back then, overwhelming. The classes started, once you get more into your major, you realize that those classes start to become more difficult because they're more targeted at your specific major. At the time, I was studying exercise science at UCF. So I'm getting more into those anatomy classes. I was taking, biology, those type of classes. So they started to get harder. And that became, a stressor for me. Also, I was in long distance relationships. So anytime that wasn't focused on studying and graduating, I was trying to focus it on that relationship, because at that time, that was my happy place away from school and everything like that. So in 2017, I did notice, the spring semester, I did notice that my grades started to decline. I failed statistics, and I pretty much that was my first D ever at UCF, so I had to retake statistics. And then I also got a C in another class, and that was just it was out of the ordinary for me to get 2 grades like that in the same semester. So my grades started to decline. My motivation for going to class pretty much declined, which of course affected my grades. Sometimes I remember in statistics, I would literally go to class and I would be in the parking lot of my class, and I couldn't even get the energy to get myself out of the car and to go inside. I was just so drained and so so drained basically, and just feeling so down that I couldn't even muster up the energy to go into my class. And there would be times where I would get out of bed, go to class, get all the way to the parking lot. And if you go to UCF, you know how hard it is to find a parking spot. So I would find a parking spot. I would be sitting there early to my class, and I would just sit in the car, maybe 20 minutes into my class, and then finally get up and go inside. And there would be times where I would get up and I would go in my class, and I would be sitting in class for a few minutes, and then I would see the information on the board or hear the teacher talking, and I just knew I was so behind in my class. I would get up and I would walk out because I just felt so overwhelmed that I couldn't take the pressure. And then, I just felt it was, oh, I'm just tired of school. I'm just ready to graduate. I'm just ready to move on. But I felt so defeated during that time frame. With class. And then on top of that, I started to isolate myself more from people, because I'm just like, I want to graduate. I just want to graduate. So I was like, I got to focus on my classes, got to pass these classes. So I would isolate myself from people. I would start to decline invites to go different places from my friends, saying that, I'm tired. I can't go right now. I have to study. I was not doing that much studying. I was really sleeping half the day away. The days where I did not have class, or the days where I did not have to work, I was sleeping all day long. I would literally have to force myself to get up I would be like, Iman, you have to eat. I'd have to force myself to get up to eat. And then I would eat, and then I would lay right back down and not do anything. It was like I was a zombie. I had no energy to fix myself food. I barely had energy to get up and to get in the shower. It was so bad. My room was cluttered, stuff everywhere. And anybody that knows me knows I am very tidy, neat freak when it comes to my things, and everything is supposed to be in a certain place. But at that time, I didn't even have the energy to clean up my room, barely had the energy to shower, would force myself to eat, because I was just feeling that defeated when it came to my schoolwork and And the thing was really that isolation. Looking back, I realized that was the biggest key factor. I would really isolate myself from everyone, saying that I would have to study or have to prepare for a test. And now I know looking back, that the best way for me to have done that would have been, scheduling my time. And I can get more into that in another video. But at the time, I didn't know about that. I figured, I'm just homesick. And that's really what I called it at the time. I'm homesick. I'm just ready to come home. And I pretty much went home about every 3 months or so. And I remember one time with me going home, it was time for me to go back. It was that Sunday night. And I remember saying to my parents, I don't want to go back. I do not want to go back to school. I'm tired. I'm done. I don't want to go back. And then I remember them saying, girl, you're almost done. You're almost done. You need to finish. And I thank God that they said that, because I literally had 2 semesters left, the spring semester and the summer, and I was done. So they're like, you're almost done. You need to push through. So thank God they did get me to push through. But at the time, I didn't think that, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. So I did end up pushing through. Let's go ahead and move to the summer. So again, I'm supposed to graduate summer of 2017. Spring of 2017, those classes, I wasn't doing good, so my grades were going down. So now that I failed that statistics class, that's risking me being able to walk in the summer. So come summer, I end up taking 5 classes during the summer to catch up. So I'm playing catch up at this time during the summer. So I took 5 classes during the summer, and I did pretty good. At that time, I was like, Iman, I shook myself like, Iman, get it together. You are not graduating in the fall. You're gonna graduate in the summer, so whatever you gotta do, do it. So come summer, I was taking 5 classes during the summer. I literally got A's in every single class because I was not playing. I was ready to graduate, and I was gonna graduate. So I took 5 classes during the summer term. I got A's in everything, so I was able to walk, and I was able to graduate. That was a great time. That was a great experience. So God just continued to work with me. It was truly His hand that got me through college. That last year, it was His hand on me, because really due to Him, that's the reason why I graduated. That's the reason why I did graduate with great grades. I was able to pull my grades up. So I was definitely thankful for that. But I know that He is using me to tell my story today. You guys, part 2 is coming very, very soon. Stay tuned. Continue to comment, share, subscribe. Put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram. Just keep being on the lookout. Part 2 is where it's really gonna get real. This is where it hits the fan, okay? Just continue to hear the rest of my story. You only got the first part. I really ain't even got to the good part yet. So just continue watching and stay tuned.